I was raised Catholic in a very Catholic household. Went to Mass every Sunday. My dad taught at a Catholic college for a while, so I was really integrated into the Catholic community from a young age. I never thought too much of it, and I just kind of went along with the motions. And I feel like that kind of mindset, always having my parents, making me like pray and come to church with them and doing all the stuff that us Catholics do, it just felt very normal, so there wasn't a lot of excitement there. But as I got a bit older, I started to like move away from the church a bit. I remember, I went to a secular high school. There was no faith influence there. I was influenced by worldly things and a lot of ideas that just didn't seem right, but were so tempting for some reason. I think going out of high school, as I left and started going to college, that's when my faith really took a dive, because I was on my own. I was free to do my own things, choose what I wanted to do. And in college, I barely went to church. I left it for a while. My life, I just felt so like empty kind of, and I didn't know what it was. I thought it was just my current situation. I thought it was just life not going perfectly, but there really was a big part of my life that I was missing, and that was Jesus. When I just moved here, I was really, really struggling. Like, I was still down in the depths, kind of, so to speak. And I had a sister who went to Dalhousie here, and this one night she texted me and says, "Hey, there's a worship night or something going on at this church. I got invited by a friend. You should come with us." And I was still not very enthusiastic about going back to church too much. But I said, okay, yeah, sure, let's go. And at first I was like so out of my comfort zone, because, the church was so different than what I was used to. But I noticed very quickly there was something special here. The amount of people like coming into the church and becoming Catholic, like getting baptized, getting the sacraments, was like crazy. Like, I've only ever seen people leaving. So I was introduced to Alpha a few months after going there. I'd never heard of Alpha before. I was like, what the heck is that? Like, I heard it was like apparently for like new Christians coming in the church. It wasn't really like even Catholic related. Like, it was just a Christian thing. I was like, oh, cool. And then I got asked to join, and I was like, I don't know, guys. I'm kind of a cradle Catholic. I already know everything. The first Alpha I went to was great. I learned a lot about myself and about the faith. I didn't realize just how far I had fallen from what God wanted me to be. But I think things really took a turn when I went to my second Alpha group. It changed my life big time. The Alpha weekend was awesome. We were really getting into like the Holy Spirit. Everyone was just in their own world in a way, where they were just like focusing on Jesus and the Holy Spirit. I know earlier that year I was really asking people to pray for me for a crazy sign from God, like something, because I was really struggling with my faith. I really wanted God to just like give me that reassurance that, hey, I'm right here. As a doubtful human, I need that sometimes, I think, from the Lord, and the only way you're going to get it is to ask. And I was sitting there just praying. I was like, God, just show me something. As I was just there, I was just focused. I didn't care like kind of what people thought of me as I was praying with my hands up and stuff. Yeah, like I felt like this peace washing over me. I felt this feeling of like joy and euphoria. I hate to say it, but I felt like I was kind of on drugs. Like, it's unexplainable. And in my mind, as my eyes were closed, I saw a cross. It was like a deeply silhouetted cross on like a hill, on a rocky hill. I just knew in that moment that my soul was reaching out to God. I could feel it. Like, for another hour or so, I was just sitting there in a state of peace, and I was so thankful that God helped me out that way with faith, and just reassuring me that He's always there, whether I feel Him or not. Yeah, that was probably the most important weekend of my recent years, my recent life, maybe of all time so far. Honestly, with the help of Alpha, I've really encountered Jesus in a new way. My friends that I've made there, and the people around me, really helped me open up myself and be vulnerable and honest with myself. So I can't recommend Alpha enough, because even if you're a Catholic that's feels very well versed in his faith and very confident in church teaching, and you think you have a good relationship with God, you're gonna get something out of it regardless of who you are. And coming into it from a cradle Catholic perspective, I think it's very necessary, and I know there's a lot of people out there that could really use it.